All right, here's example 2. Sheila's riding on a multi-day bike trip. Each day she rides different distance for a different period of time. On the first day, Sheila rode 100 miles. So part A, we're going to say on the first part of the first day of the trip, Sheila rode for 6 hours and covered 75 miles. So 6 hours, 75 miles. Find the average speed for the first part of the trip. Use the relation dirt. That's what I call it. D equals RT. It looks like dirt to me if you put a little I in here. Or distance equals rate times time. Okay, so let's tackle that first part first. Let me make this a little smaller so I have room to write. All right. So on the first day of the first part of the trip, she rode for 6 hours and covered 75 miles. Find the average speed. So we're going to basically, remember we talked earlier, we said we were going to plug things in, substitute. We're going to replace the D with the distance. The D, we're going to replace that with 75. So you have 75 equals, and then the rate is actually the part we're solving for. We don't know the rate. And then the time would be the 6 hours. We're going to replace the T in this formula with a 6 hours. Hopefully you know how to solve an equation with multiplication. You do the inverse operation, you divide. So we divide by 6. Divide by 6. And in a backwards sort of way, we get 12.5 equals R. Now, if you wanted to do dimensional analysis to see if you're following the right formula, it's a good idea. So on this 6, it really should have been 6 hours, right? So I'm dividing by hours. And the 75 would be 75 miles. And so you notice over here, we end up with miles divided by hours, which is why it's 12.5 miles per hour. Okay, so the units actually work out on this one. All right, so that was the first part. Maybe scroll it over here for the second part. On the second day of the trip, Sheila rode the same average speed as the first part of the first day. Her total distance over the 2 days can be represented by 100 plus 12.5 T, where T is the number of hours Sheila rode on the second day. Sheila rode 7 hours on the second day. Find the total distance Sheila rode in 2 days. That's a lot of words, but same pattern we're going to do. Start with the formula. 100 plus 12.5. Where do you think they got the 12.5 from? It matches our speed, right? Where did they get the 100 from? Because she rode 100 miles on the first day. So all we have to do is plug in. You didn't have to know that to be able to solve it, by the way. But you can plug in the time. 7 goes right here. And the answer is going to be the 100 plus 12.5 times T, which is 7. And 12.5 times 7. Did you memorize your 12s when you did your times tables? 12 times 7 is 84. Plus half of 7, because the 0.5 is 3.5. So 84 plus 3.5 is 87.5. You can check on a calculator if you want, but I think 12.5 times 7 is 87.5. Plus the original 100. So you end up with 187.5. And if I'd followed my units, which I didn't, but if I'd followed my units, it was 100 miles. And then this would end up being miles. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. You can follow your units up here. Maybe that would help. So this is 7 hours, right? And 12.5 miles per hour. And the hours actually cross cancel. You end up with miles. So the units actually work out on this too. All right, it's probably TMI, too much information, but hopefully that made sense for question number 2.